I would like to introduce the 12th president of Bowling Green State University, President Rodney Rogers.
Good morning. Great day at Bowling Green. So excited to see so many individuals here, and I would be remiss if I didn't introduce one of our trustees of the university that's with us today, Willa Ebersol. Trustee Ebersol, thank you for coming up from Columbus to be here. You know, she's one of my bosses, so if I don't introduce her, so thank you, Willa. Momentum. You know, that's a word that we've been using a lot here at Bowling Green, momentum. Records have been set in terms of enrollment, rankings, levels of student success, fundraising, partnerships, research, and we are redefining what people can expect of an undergrad degree here at Bowling Green. Momentum. You know, and some people have asked me, so what's going on at Bowling Green? This is a time of great headwinds for higher education, and not everyone is experiencing this kind of momentum that we're seeing here at Bowling Green. Well, you know, I think it's the power of people. It's faculty, it's coaches, it's staff, it's students working together with a growth mindset, focused on common goals and dedicated to creating this community where all can belong and be given opportunities to develop, thrive, and strive for excellence. And quite honestly, that is why we are here today. This is about taking another step, and I think a big step in accelerating this momentum. And I certainly want to thank our Vice President of Athletic Strategy and Director of Intercollegiate Athletics, Derek Vandermeer. Thank you, Derek, for your leadership. For your leadership in this highly competitive national search to place our 21st head coach in Bowling Green football history. And now I'm going to let Derek talk a little bit more about the many athletic and leadership accomplishments of our new head football coach. But I want to share a few observations that I have learned over the last few days, and certainly being an Ohioan myself, know about the great Eddie George. But here's a few observations. So Coach George, in a way, you know, this is coming home for you. Ohio, the Buckeye State. And even though you are back in the Buckeye State, I do want to start by saying you do not have to use the word "the" in front of Bowling Green State University, okay? So you don't need that word, all right? And that we here, quite frankly, believe that orange is a little bit edgier than scarlet and Titan blue, okay? A little bit edgier. And I've heard there's somebody who likes orange. Okay, I'll come to that in a minute. We've got similar thoughts about our great marching band, too. John Waters and the great work he's doing with the Falcon Marching Band. There is one thing we have in common with that school in Columbus is we take our rivalries here pretty seriously. And we've got a school up north for us as well, and we are so excited certainly to welcome you and Taj here to Bowling Green. If you have not had a chance to meet Taj, an incredible, talented musician and an entrepreneur, and you have two sons. Eric is with us today. Eric, thank you very much. An amazing season you had this last year. So certainly, Coach George brings a wealth of knowledge with a long and legendary career on the football field. There is that Heisman Trophy winning, NFL records, Super Bowl appearance, and the list can go on and on. But I was most focused on his accomplishments outside of sports. An MBA from the Kellogg School at Northwestern, an entrepreneur, a Broadway actor, right? Broadway actor. Amazing. A community-based philanthropist, an educator, a speaker, and recently honored for your impact to the community at the 18th Annual National Civil Rights Museum for Sports Legacy Awards ceremony. Coach George is truly a Renaissance man. And that Renaissance man, the way he has continued to innovate in his career, to push himself, to develop outside of football, speaks not only to his work ethic, but to his ability, his ability to never give up, to a commitment to lifelong learning, a growth mindset that just never quits, a willingness to take risks when appropriate, to see possibilities and opportunities where others could not, and a drive to challenge himself to keep moving forward, always finding a way. Those are the very principles that we have long embraced here at Bowling Green, and that has provided our momentum that we are experiencing as a university. You know, we're a hardworking, scrappy university that punches above our weight time and time again, defying national trends and narratives about public higher education. We are driven for a relentless pursuit of innovation with a growth mindset. And as we all know here, there are rapidly changing landscapes in collegiate athletics, especially Division I football. And what the future holds, no one knows. But I am certain this era of collegiate athletics not only requires innovation and a growth mindset, but we will be rewarded with it. So known for his competitiveness and compassion, Coach George brings a deep understanding of what it takes for our student athletes and programs to be successful on the field, but also outside of football. At Bowling Green, it is all about preparing our students for great lives and great careers. That is our goal. And we are most excited and honored to welcome Coach George as a partner, a leader in our learning community that has long been focused on showing up and putting the work in day after day, committed to lifelong learning and innovation, recognizing that it is that, improving the lives of our students and in turn our communities, that is the true power of public higher education. Coach George, Taj, Eric, and your other son, who's not here, it is great to have you here at Bowling Green. We are looking forward to your leadership. Isaac Zumba. It's now my pleasure to introduce I want to make sure I get it right, the 15th Director of Intercollegiate Athletics and the first Vice President for Athletic Strategy at Bowling Green State University, Derek Vandermeer.
I'd like to start by saying thank you for all of you attending today. In this room today, I can look across here and it's 2 years, 2 months, a journey that has brought us back here a few times for press conferences. This is the last one for a while, by the way. But it's brought us together. And one of the things that I can tell you through this journey is that if you look around this room, what I love most is that you see other coaches in this room and other staff and people from across this campus community here to celebrate what's happening in this department. We have said our greatest strength is you, and it takes a commitment by you to continue to make sure that we maximize how we as a community in Bowling Green continue to bring in new individuals that are going to continue to shape and to mold what we become as a great university. I want to start by saying thank you to Dr. Rogers and our Bowling Green Board of Trustees for their ongoing support and commitment to athletics. There's one thing to like athletics, there's one thing to love athletics, but there's another thing to embrace the mission of how it can support our student experience and making sure that we are critical each and every day of how do we innovate and create a better experience for our students on this campus. I'd like to thank Deputy AD Stacy Koziak. She is the sport administrator for football. Without her support and direct involvement in this process, we don't get to this finish line. So thank you, Stacy, for everything you do for our program. During this process, and we'll talk about some of these individuals, but I really leaned on the support of key advisors. that were really instrumental. Mike Wilcox, Larry Benz, Urban Meyer, Dave Clausen. Just want to say thank you so much for caring about Bowling Green. These individuals they're more than just former coaches and alumni. They're individuals that wake up every day and still talk about how they bleed orange and how this community transformed their lives. So don't ever think that while they may not be here, their heart and soul still resides in this community. I'd like to thank Glenn Sugiyama and Industry Athletics Director, leader, and legend Dan Guerrero, and the DHR for their support through the process. Dan's mentorship and guidance. If you know Dan, former UCLA Athletics Director, is a person that is highly regarded. And to have someone I can lean on and truly mentor me as I continue to try to become what I hope is an effective leader, is you have to lean on people that have walked the walk and can be great mentors for you. And he was absolutely an asset in this process. On Friday, January 28th, BGU Athletics announced the departure of Scott Loeffler to become the quarterback coach of the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles. I'd like to take a moment to thank Scott Loeffler for his 6 years of service to Bowling Green State University and our community. For Scott, this community was family. To Scott, our alumni were family. We have all been impacted by his heart, his soul, and his love and passion for what is Bowling Green, for what his wife Amy and his family brought to this community. And so I just want to make sure that we appropriately recognize him for building a program, bringing in a staff, bringing in a group of people, of student athletes that truly care and believe in the mission of who and what we are. On the day of Scott's departure, I met with the football team, and over the course of the next couple of days met with them again. And in the team's conversations, I want to share with you things that they thought were very important, because I think you need to know who we have as student athletes and students in our program. They talked about loyalty. They want a person that really values relationships, a person who truly cares about people, the BGSU way. They wanted me to understand why they chose Bowling Green State University. Quote unquote, it was more than a transaction. It's not about just business. If you read the headlines of college athletics today, sometimes you think that that's been lost. But this team wanted all of you to know that they chose BGSU because they care about each other. They care about the coaching staff. They care about the faculty and staff on this campus who invest in them and truly believe that they can transform their lives through a relationship, a positive relationship. They wanted a leader who was accessible and humble, someone who can build trust, who truly understood what team means and how much they truly love each other as a team. And they love the coaching staff, and they love the people that they come and work with every day. They want someone who inspires them and wants to inspire them to love the game each and every day that they step in to the football building. Someone who understands people and the power of meaningful connections. Once again, you read in college sports today, a message that's being lost. However, at the core mission and purpose of who and what we are, that commitment to that resides with our student athletes. And I challenge all of us is don't look at those headlines anymore. Talk to our student athletes, talk to our students. Because it's aligned at Bowling Green. It's aligned yesterday with the alumni who have been through here. It's aligned today, and it'll be aligned tomorrow as we proceed and build this program. On Friday, January 28th, I did a Zoom call with our football alumni from around the country. And I went into that football call. We have alumnus, his name is John Kaplan, a phenomenal man, and he challenged me. He says, build a profile of exactly what you want and don't deviate from that profile. So in listening to the student athletes, I built this profile, and it was something that, he says, commit to it. Read it over and over again. Commit to that profile, and as you meet people, align the people that you're meeting with that profile. He says, someone that values relationships, a person that's committed to Bowling Green, this community, starts in this town, first and foremost, and expands around the country through our alumni and friends. An unquestionable commitment to the academic mission of the university, first and foremost. You have to have that commitment. Urban Meyer and Dave Clausen both made the exact same remark to me, and I put this in the profile. Someone who is always building on what we have and not focused on what we don't have. Urban said that, Dave said the exact same thing. Someone that always looks at everything that you have around you, the people, the community, this great institution, our president, our alignment, our values, that is our greatest strength. It's not the things that we don't have. It's not the one resource you don't have. Focus on people, focus on that, he says. And if that person, Dave Clausen, Urban Meyer, focus on that, and you will achieve great things in this community each and every day. A person with great passion and drive for the game. A good listener, values people and learning. A growth mindset, innovator and entrepreneur. And finally, and it really is in that priority order, a great football coach. A great football coach is last. In this day and age of college sports, it's critical that we have this forward mindset, our university's strategic plan. A forward mindset is how we will evolve, face challenges, and develop a program to meet the ever-changing landscape. Change and disruption is inherent in every aspect of how we build, and we're going to meet that challenge head on. Ensuring we have people in this program who are committed to being uncomfortable and who are committed to adapting and changing is critical for our success. Our department's plan is Forward Falcons, Fight for Victory. Our purpose statement is quite simple: a relentless commitment to improvement, innovation, and success. Today, we get better. We move forward. Today, I have the great honor of introducing the 21st football coach in the history of Bowling Green State University. All of you know about Eddie George, the college player, the Heisman winner, one of the greatest running backs in NFL history. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the accolades because you all probably know that better than me. I guarantee you my son can give me statistics, and I'm usually the last person to know. You may know about him after reading about him recently, and Dr. Rogers spoke about the Broadway actor, the entrepreneur, the philanthropist, the business founder and owner. And maybe you've heard about Eddie George, the coach who took over a failing Tennessee State football coach and turned the team around in 5 years and won an OVC championship and was runner-up for the Eddie Robinson National Coach of the Year. Pretty significant. I was in the OVC as an athletics director. I went down to Tennessee State. I know about that institution. And I can tell you what he did at Tennessee State was transformational. And it was more than just about transforming a football program. It was about transforming a university. You know, after talking to Urban Meyer, he called me the next day and he says, "I only have one name for you." Because I said, "Give me names. Please give me as many names as you can." He said, "I have one name for you. I want you to talk to Eddie George." I said, "The Heisman Trophy winner, right?" He says, "Yeah." He says, don't look at anything. Don't read anything don't read his background. Talk to him. Talk to the human being. After meeting with Eddie George during the search process, it became very clear to me that Eddie checked every aspect of that profile that we created. Eddie is someone who cares about people, values personal growth and development. He defines himself by his ability to adapt, adjust, and have success in every aspect of his life. When we were talking about the Bowling Green community, he said that he and his family, Taj, Eric, and Katrina, who is here today, thank you for being here too, Katrina. Katrina is Tamara, Taj's sister, so thank you for being here. He said, I'm invested, I'm all in. He says, I might have to do a Heisman commercial every once in a while. I said, I think we can make that pass. We're good with that one. In conversations with these coaches, I also had the chance to speak to Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel. And you know, it was as you go through this process, as I started to really assess and analyze who he was and his background, speaking to people around the country, the one thing that each individual firmly supported is that this person is a man of character and integrity, someone who can lead our football team. Today, I'm going to introduce the 21st football coach at Bowling Green State University. And as I ask him to come up here, we have two jerseys. One is number 27, with Eddie George, but it's orange. It's finally he got the right color. So, without further ado, today I'm proud to introduce Eddie George as our new football coach.
I'm gonna get that handshake right, I promise. I'm gonna get the handshake right. Oh, wow. Man, I'm so excited to be here today, so excited to be your next head football coach. Derek, thank you for the great comments. President Rogers, thank you so much for believing in me and trusting me. You know, we had rounds of conversations. It feels like a whirlwind. Last week felt like a whole month in terms of the interviews and the process. And Glenn, thank you for making this happen, for really pushing me to look at this opportunity seriously. I stand before you with a heart full of gratitude. I mean, that's the one word that I come up with as I stand before you today, as I walk around campus, as I just meet people in the community, looking around. I see Ohio State jerseys. I see everything. It just brings me back home to Ohio, and just gratitude. And when I look at the community, the energy, the enthusiasm, the upsurge of what's happening here at this university really excites me. I had an opportunity to speak to the team this morning, and basically I said, listen, let's talk about the elephant in the room. You know, a couple weeks ago, you guys lost the head coach, and he's full of uncertainty and anxiety and fear, you know, lurking around the room. And as of recently, just yesterday, the same thing for me. Anxiety, fear, you know, walking into the unknown. Yesterday, I had to say goodbye to a group of young men, you know, who believed in me as their head coach at Tennessee State. But I'm not going to get into the particulars of what happened, but understand that those kids felt some type of way too. But you have to understand that this is something that we all go through. This is a part of, unfortunately, the business. But I'm here, committed, locked and loaded, and my message to them was, hey, we cannot control what happened here. It's not your fault. We got this thing done. We're here. Now, what's important is how we move forward. How do we move forward in a positive way? We lock in and we load it. We're locked in on one word, and that's going to be a relationship. The three ships: relationship, ownership, and leadership. That's it. Focusing on getting to know me, I get to know you. We own the fact that, hey, we are here, but we have an opportunity to do something great about it. This is going to bring us together stronger. That's the choice that we have to make. And then we're going to find out who the leaders are that are going to emerge from this. Because I have every aspiration and intention on winning the MAC this year. That is the goal. And to continue the success of this program that Coach Leffler left here, the success, the sustainability. He left it in a great, great condition. Now it's time for me to go from good to excellence, to elite. And we're going to dig in, we're going to get stronger, we're going to get faster, we're going to find out who we are, we're going to be committed to excellence each and every day. You know, this is not going to be an easy process. We still have a lot of work to do to get across the finish line. You know, so, but we can do it together. That's going to be the key. And together as one, we are going to get this thing done. And I'm so, so excited about this opportunity, so excited to meet all of you personally, the alumni, the staff, the students, the community. I'm really excited to immerse myself fully here at this great university. With that, I'll open it up to, I guess, questions at this point in time, and Ziggy Zumba. All right, there you go, getting it right. Thank you very much. Go Falcons.
Thank you. Media, we have members of the Strategic Communications Office on each side here that are for the media sitting down here, and then we have one in the back for the cameras. Please introduce yourself and give your media outlet. And we will start off over here, though, with Michael Burwell with the Toledo Blade.
Coach, just how much of a full circle moment is this, knowing first collegiate touchdown for you was against Bowling Green, and this many years later, now you're going to be coaching them.
You know what? I forgot that I did score. It's been so long. It was my freshman year, and that actually that was the touchdown that started Touchdown Eddie. And the stadium used to say Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. It was awesome. And only 3 weeks later, I fumbled twice against Illinois, and it turned into booze. But no, flying in here into Ohio and coming back to this region, this part of the country, I forgot just how cold it really is. How cold, unless I've been in Nashville for the last 20, 30 years, and my blood changed. I got soft. So I'm excited to get back into the cold weather, but just brought back a rush of memories. The sunsets are different here in Ohio, and the people just really embrace you, and the community is so strong. They really rally around this university, and I got that sense of that feeling of, man, the love here at this university. My wife is so excited when she landed here, and my son was excited, and Trina, and everybody's like, man, we got a good feeling. The good aura is really good. So I'm glad to be back in this regard. Excited that you guys are excited, and just looking forward to putting the best product on the field this fall. There he is.
Tim May from Columbus, Ohio.
Yes, sir.
Eddie, when you took that job at Tennessee State, four and a half years ago,
Yep.
It was almost like you were doing them a favor. You know what I mean? It felt like when we talked about it and stuff. And did you think this thing would bloom like this, career-wise, to you being an up-and-coming head coach?
Well, I have a lot of gratitude, and I'm thankful for Dr. Glenda Glover and Mickey Allen, AD for Tennessee State, for giving me the opportunity to coach. They really pressed on me to coach, and I didn't want to. I was not interested in coaching. But when I really thought about it and meditated on the idea of giving back to the game that gave so much to me, all these ideas started flowing through my mind of how I would create a program based off of what I've been through during the course as a student athlete and as a professional athlete, and then after the game. And I really wanted to create a program that could help young men after their playing days are done, setting them up for long-term success. Football is not the end-all be-all. It's the conduit to your purpose. And that's the process that you have to learn to go through. So, I was just brainstorming, and it did not stop. It hasn't stopped now. I still got a whole bunch full of notes about, what we're going to do here. It excites me. It keeps me up at night, and I'm grateful for that. So, when I started 4 years ago, my main focus was on, immersing myself into coaching and finding, how I'm going to build this program. And it was tough. I had some tough days, some tough moments as a head coach. And I'm like, man, these kids are doing this, and I had to learn to grow and fail forward. And that was a beautiful thing, to go from a tough, hard program that was not successful to becoming champions in 4 years, to walking into a locker room full of cigar smoke and looking at the faces, smiling, and like 4 years ago, going backwards, thinking about, man, we could barely win a ball game. My first game, we played against Grambling State, right down the road in Canton, and we had 17 penalties in that game. 17. Most of them were holding, okay? And the final game we played in was in Montana. I think we had maybe 2 penalties. So there was a level of growth there from that perspective. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So I love what I do. I love being a coach. You know, in our interview, I was telling Derek that I would do this for free, you know, but I wouldn't do it for free. You know what I'm saying?
I gave him a
I wouldn't
contract.
do it.
I was
yeah.
offering him right there.
Right. However, I'm just saying my passion about it, I would do for free. You know, like I would play the game of football. But again, Tim, it's great and I've called on you time and time again during my time at Tennessee State about, hey, who do you think might be leaving in Ohio State? You know, the guy get him in the portal. And but nah, it's great, man. I'm glad to see you. Glad to be back, man. Glad to see some familiar faces.
David Briggs.
Eddie, Dave Briggs, Toledo Blade. A lot of good jobs and opportunities out there. What attracts and excites you specifically about this place, about Bowling Green?
You know, that's a great question. Honestly, I wasn't looking for another opportunity. I was committed to finishing off my job at Tennessee State. You know, from going into the last year of my contract, that was my focus. Given the challenges of the university, you know, it was challenging, and it was a situation where it presented itself. You know, I asked God maybe 3 weeks ago, you know, give me a sign of what's next. Give me a sign of what's next, and I promise you, this is exactly what happened. As I'm driving back from Indianapolis from the Combine, I'm driving through Bowling Green, Kentucky. I see the sign, Bowling Green. And I look down at my phone, it's a message from Urban Meyer talking about, are you interested in the Bowling Green job? And I put the phone down. I was like, oh, boy. I was like, okay, what are you trying to say? Because I know that given the timing where everything is, we're 2 weeks out of spring ball. I'm thinking about, you know, how we're going to run the ball this spring and duo day and all this stuff. I'm thinking how we're going to get the grit and grind going. And I'm like, oh, boy. And then Glenn called me and said, hey, you may really want to look at this opportunity, you know. And I vetted it out. I called various coaches. I talked to my wife. I didn't talk to my son. I didn't want him to know as of yet. And said, what's the possibility? What's the reality of this job? What are the pitfalls? Can I be successful there? You know, what is it? So spent the last week going through all of that, and then I just continued to walk in faith, and not by sight. And I said, okay, if this is meant for me, I'm going to go for it. And put my best foot out there and didn't know what to expect. I was saying, hey, if I get it, great. I'm going to go and give it my all and not turn this program around, but elevate it to another level. Or I'm going to go back to Tennessee State and finish the season off strong and let the chips fall where they may. And I live with that. So we worked it out. I think, you know, during the interview process, we have like minds. We have our vision is in harmony, where he wants to take this program holistically in what I envision as a football program on and off the football field. In the age of NIL, and let me be clear, NIL is not the end-all be-all. It's the fingernail in the body of football. It's part of it now, but it's not the main focus that we're going to focus on. We have to acknowledge it. It's going to be a part of our deal, but that's not going to be our foundation or our core values. You know, it's going to be discipline and development, hard work, integrity, transparency. You know, that's what we're going to build our young men on. You know, so within our conversations, man, we just realized there were more similarities and like ideas excitement, and I see his energy and his entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm like, man, we can do some great things together, man, and that got me excited. So as a whole, Bowling Green, I played against them. I'm very familiar with the brand. I'm excited to see where this school is going, where this community is going, and I want to be a part of that.
One more real quick, like President Rogers said, you have a new team up north now. What have you heard about the Toledo rivalry? How do you plan to embrace that?
I don't embrace it. I never have, never will. It's only one thing that we gonna do is put that ball in the dirt and let them feel the iron fist. That's gonna be the goal. But real honestly, much respect for that team up north, and very familiar with their brand. Actually, I know the AD pretty well, and they've done a phenomenal job of growing their program as well. So they're like, again, the goals as of right now is to win the battle of I-75, win the MAC, and then go play for a national championship. Those three things, and then we'll figure out the habits that are associated with that to accomplish that end goal.
Good. Justin over here.
Welcome to Bowling Green, Eddie. Justin Feldkamp with BCSN TV. Looking up at that picture up there, still got the forearms. Could you give us 10 rushes for 50 yards still?
Man, I had brand new knees. I had knee replacement surgery done last year, Christmas, day after Christmas. So the answer is no. Now, will I demonstrate in a walkthrough? Yes, I'll do that. But no, I plan on still working out. I'm trying to figure out my workout plan now. I looked at the weight room; is awesome. Do some swimming, so I'll be in a beautiful Olympic-sized pool time again. So again, my regiment's going to stay the same, and hopefully I can keep it with some of these players.
You mentioned the NIL. Maybe not impact as much at Tennessee State as it does at the Division I level, but just kind of curious, what are your core beliefs as you, as the new leader of this program, navigate that portion, that fingernail that you mentioned of college football?
Well, Derek and I are going to work hand in hand in that. There is a plan in place to build a war chest, so to speak, and set goals that are associated with that. Get our alumni excited about the possibilities. My goal is this: let's put a fence around Ohio in terms of recruiting. High school still matters, and I did not build Tennessee State through the transfer portal or through flipping a roster on NIL. I did it through development, hard work, recruiting my son. I had players that I came in as freshmen, and we developed them into All-Americans. Buck Buchanan Award winner, at Tennessee State, which is equivalent to the Heisman Trophy at FCS level. So I've been developed. I know what that looks like. I'm born in it, molded by it. That's who I am, and that's what we're going to do. We want to put a fence around the state, and then we're going to figure out ways to use the NIL strategically and the portal strategically as we build this roster. Because the most important thing that you have to have is continuity. You have to have a brotherhood, that's a bond that's strong in that locker room, that if you are a real football team and you're a real one, you're vying for a championship, that's what's going to carry you through. And I've just noticed that, correct me if I'm wrong, but teams that are built just on portal players alone don't last very long in the playoffs. So there's different ways to do it, but this is how we're going to do it at Bowling Green. We're going to do it responsibly. We're going to look at it. We're going to vet guys out. But we do have a plan in place to build an NIL war chest.
Coach Clint Core from the Morning Show, WBGU Radio. Just say something to the community out there about, first of all, not just the university, but about the community, what you and your family were looking for in a place, what it was that drove you here, and if you had a chance to meet with folks in the community yet, and then maybe to follow up about the personality of the team they're going to see on the field as well.
Well, again, talking to Derek, he made it very clear that the community here is very special. I mean, he mentioned that several times. during our conversation. And honestly, this is really the first time that I've been to Bowling Green. But the sense that I get is you're very passionate, welcoming fans and a community that loves Bowling Green. And I plan on, living in the community. We have some events that are coming up that'll be announced that, we'll have a chalk talk, at one of the local bars or restaurants, excuse me. And so you'll have a chance, once the staff is finalized and we're up and running, you're going to have a chance to meet us, ask questions, who we're going to be, what are the identity of our office, I don't know. So we really want to immerse ourselves in the community, and I look forward to that. But, first impressions, man, I'm really blown away. It's first class. The people love you. I love you back, and again, this process is where we have to be very patient. I don't know what we're going to look like on the day that we open up, on our first game. But what I do know is that we're going to play fast, we're going to be physical, we're going to be disciplined. And we'll let the scoreboard take care of itself. The teams that play us will know they've been played by us. That's the goal. We will be physical.
Down here in the front.
Tyler Kavlitz with Falcon Media Sports Network. Coach, moving up to the D1 level, what excites you most about that, and how do you think your experience at the FCS level past 4 years will help you succeed at this higher level?
Football is football. I think the difference is resources, facilities. Our staff at Tennessee State, we did more with less, and oftentimes that's a good thing. It was a real good training ground for me. I had to immerse myself into a lot of different areas, from recruiting, always recruiting, but academics, the APR, the equipment, the NIL collective, alumni relations, all of it. I had to really do it on my own, along with my staff, and try to make it efficient as possible within that, to get us to an elite level. So now that as I'm walking around, getting to know people, getting to see, get a true lay of the land and seeing what's needed, nothing's going to be easy. But I think I have a clearer picture of what my expectations are. And that's to operate at a very high, elite, first-class level. We're not here to cut corners at any turn. We're going to go above and beyond the call of duty to get things done. And, it requires for me and Derek to duke it out a couple times to get some stuff we need to get done. We'll have to do it.
I just want you to know that I'm not going to duke it out with him. He wins.
No, but seriously, the experiences that I've experienced at Tennessee State, I think will have paid off for me, and it'll come up at different places. And I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. I'm still a student of coaching, a student of the game. I'm going to really lean on this community, lean on the players, lean on the coaches to help me get up to speed. So as I get up to speed, we go a little bit faster. But we're going to be a program that's going to be efficient and operate and move in a first-class manner.
Chase over here.
Hi, Eddie. Chase Bachman, WTOL 11. What do you see as kind of the biggest priorities on the field in order to get from good to great to win a MAC championship, as you mentioned?
Well, first things first, man. We gotta figure out the staff first. So as soon as I get off the stage, we're gonna roll up our sleeves and get to work on that, because there are some coaches that need answers, and we gotta respect that. They have families, they have careers. They didn't ask to be in this position. It's a very tough position to be in, given the timing. So that's the first thing, is to figure out who is going to teach, mentor, and push our kids to be the best that they can be, and understanding that the decisions that are made are going to be in the best interest of Bowling Green football moving forward. And that may take time. I mean, we would like to get it done sooner than later, but in the situation, we don't want to make the wrong decisions. We want to be very sensitive about it all, and that's number one. Number two, the student athletes that are here, their number one two goals are, hey, go to class, make sure you're in front of the class, alert, no headphones on, no hoodies, and being a good student, and then get in the best shape of your life, because summer's coming, and we got work to do. So once that's solidified, then we can start getting into, what they've done well. I don't think now is the time to say, hey, we're going to become a run and shoot offense. No, I'm going to look at realistically what made them successful. This is not a rebuild. This is a retweak and a growth to the next level. So that has to be handled with sensitivity and a great deal of conversation and being thoughtful and intentional about every move that we make, that we don't stray away from the things that they're used to, and we don't stray away from what's made this program successful. I'm not here to blow it up. I'm here to add, to enhance, and that's it. So that's the goal as of right now.
Mark here in the front.
Mark Hoots, BCSN TV. Speaking of the coaching staff, what are you looking for in that staff? And then secondly, spring football is right around the corner.
Yeah.
That becomes even more important now as you step into this position.
Right. I'll have an opportunity to interview every single coach in the building, and that's going to be done, can't be done in an hour. There's no way. So once I get to that point, Derek and I will sit and have a conversation, put the pieces to the puzzle together, and figure out the best strategy moving forward on that. Again, you would like for that to be done now, but these things cannot be rushed, and it won't be rushed. We're going to take our time and be thoughtful, but also have a timeline on what that looks like. So we have to be very diligent about it and swift about it. And then once we solidify that, we will put a game plan together in terms of what it looks like for spring football. We're going to put the ball in the dirt. We're going to learn how to tackle. We're going to learn how to run. We're going to learn how to hit. We're going to learn how to block. And then we'll go from there. So it's going to be fundamentals, technique, really harp on those fundamentals and techniques. That's what you do during the spring. And then we're going to figure out what this team does best and put them in the best position to play fast, to play physical without a lot of thinking. So less will probably be more this spring. And then we'll talk about what the future holds for the next spring and so forth.
Thank you for everyone for coming. Go Falcons.